adventures here in Pennsylvania, going to another state park that we've never heard of.
It's the theme for this year.
Yeah, pretty much all the Pennsylvania state parks that we're going to be camping at, except for one, are ones that we've never heard of. We're going to Francis Slocum State Park, which is sort of near Wilkes-Barre and Scranton area, and so there's a lot to do out there, and so over probably the next 2 or 3 episodes, we're going to be featuring quite a bit of interesting stuff. But this episode mainly is going to be focused on Ricketts Glen. We couldn't get a campsite at Ricketts Glen though, and that's essentially why we keep ending up at these other state parks, is because
we can't get the campsites we want.
And even like we were already trying to book for Memorial Day 2024. Just now. This is around the 4th of July was yesterday for, timeline's sake. And we couldn't even get a site at the state park we wanted to go to for Memorial Day next year. That's how hard it is to book sites in Pennsylvania. But don't worry, we did book something. We're not telling you what it is, but Memorial Day weekend next year should be fun. It's crazy that we have to think.
Yeah, William thinks so too.
It's crazy that we have to plan so far in advance for things. If you followed our trip down south, you'll note that we've been having all kinds of trouble with the GPS taking us places that we don't belong. And, it's one thing with the small rig that we have now, but it's going to be a completely different thing next year when we're 10 feet longer. So we're trying to get ahead of the game in regards to figuring out what we can use and what works and what's going to work. On my phone here right now, I have up the Hammer GPS app. It's a trucking specific GPS, but it allows you to put in your length and your height and your weight and all that stuff in hopes that you'll avoid any restrictions and essentially stupid routes that don't make sense for towing a trailer. So we're giving it a try. It's totally free. Let us know down in the comments what you're using as far as GPS goes. But disclaimer, I'm only going to use something if it's free, because we're not paying for that. So let me know what you're using.
Free is your friend.
And because it won't work with CarPlay, so that is annoying. Because if you have your phone plugged in to charge and keep the GPS alive, then it wants to go to CarPlay, but then I can't use the Ram's navigation, and so it's kind of a bit of a snafu. Well, friends, we've almost made it. We're somewhere near Bloomsburg, so we're just stopping for gas, and I don't know, we got a good ways left to go on Interstate 80, and then we're headed north.
54 miles away?
Total?
Yeah,
so
it's like an hour.
It's like an hour from here, so that's not too bad. Alright friends, we've made it the whole way out here to Wilkes-Barre and Francis Slocum State Park. You should note, if you are coming to camp here, you have to fill up with water here at the dump station. Not really something that's an ideal circumstance, because even though the dump station is back there and this hookup's over here, sometimes people get things that are that close together mixed up. So it is what it is. You can't fill up anywhere else. There are spigots in the loop, but you can't use them to fill your tanks up. But it seems like a nice place. It is going to be excessively hot for the duration of our trip. This is the beginning of July. I believe summer's finally here, so we're in for some hot weather. But the good news is there's been a good bit of rain over the past week or so. So the falls at Ricketts Glen tomorrow ought to be flowing pretty good. And then we're going to hopefully be doing Choke Creek Falls on Saturday. And so hopefully there's some water there. Yeah, alright. I think we're almost full, so we're going to get set up and get going here. We're going to, I think, order some pizza, because it took us a while to get here, and we're just going to get some pizza for dinner. Domino's, I think. Are you ordering the pizza?
Well, I'm trying to, but they're not gonna deliver here.
They're not going to deliver here?
No. Just
What?
found that out.
How far do we got to go? Or like, can someone else deliver here?
Oh. Well, they'll deliver to the park entrance.
Okay, well that's fine. We can go get it at the park entrance. Perfect. Pizza. Domino's. Awesome. Alright friends, so just a quick update here real quick. This is site 46. And it's a pretty private site in the woods here. It's perfect for what we're doing. We are going to, probably on Sunday, take you for a stroll around Francis Slocum and tell you what's here. But right now we don't even know what's here. So that's why I have very little information on Francis Slocum, but subscribe and wait a couple episodes. It's hot, summer's here. It doesn't really provide a good opportunity to sit out here and enjoy much, but we're gonna get the kids to bed. We're gonna get to bed. We're gonna get up early in the morning because I want to get to Ricketts Glen before there's other people there and before it gets blazing hot. And then after that, I think we're coming back here, eat lunch, go swimming or something. Summertime activities. It's July. Welcome to summer.
Sarah, stop. William.
Go back where your mother.
We're going for a ride. And then we're going for a walk. So what is it? It's 7:30 in the morning. We're half hour later than I wanted to be, but probably still pretty good to get on the road. We need to get over to Ricketts Glen early this morning because the hike we want to do, it's a small parking lot and it fills up quickly. I read on their park map, so we've got about a half-hour drive, so we'll get there around 8 o'clock, and hopefully 8 o'clock isn't too late, but we'll let you know.
But we've never been to Ricketts Glen, so we're excited to get to do it because it's supposed to be Pennsylvania's best state park and some of the best features you'll find in the state of Pennsylvania. Alright, so my friends, it is about 8 o'clock on a Thursday? I think today's Thursday. As you can probably see, it's a fairly small parking lot, but there are a good many spaces here. And it looks like we're going to have most of the trail to ourselves. Should make note that a large portion of the Falls Trail is closed. I don't know for how long or any details on that really. I just know some sort of part of it washed out and it's impassable. So the reason we chose this route that we're doing is because of that. Otherwise we'd have probably done something else and made a loop. But that's not doable, so we're going to do what we can. And that's kind of a message I want to send, is do the best that you can do given the circumstances you're given. A lot of our year has been muddled up in one way or another, but we're going to continue to press on and make the best of what we can do. Alright, so we're starting out here on the Falls Trail, and like I said, doing sort of an out and back type of situation. So this area was formed 15,000 years ago by glaciers, much like everything up in the Finger Lakes region that we shown you a few years ago, but we're essentially at the southernmost region that the glaciers migrated down to. So that's why everything north of Interstate 80 is so different from everything south. 80 is like the flat spot that the glaciers left behind, and that's the end of it. So I was saying the area was formed 15,000 years ago, but it didn't become a state park until actually 1993. Before that, it was a National Historic... What?
Before that, it was a National Natural Landmark. It became designated as such in 1969.
I just can't put words together today, so she had to help me. But, yeah, so one of Pennsylvania's newer state parks. And friends, you may look at this water here and think it's like a nasty dark brown color. And, yeah, it's definitely dark brown, but that is because of the hemlock forest you can see around us. The hemlock bark, as we talked about, I think, at some point, they peeled the bark off the trees because it was tannin rich, and they needed that to make leather products back in the day. But the tannin is also what causes the dark brown color in the water, and you see that quite a lot, actually, in the Pennsylvania region. It may not show up on the camera, but it's very, very evident in the creek here. Yeah, right there where my finger's at, actually. For once, I've managed to actually point to the right spot. If you look at these stairs behind me, it's hard to believe that this is actually a trail, but it is. I'm not sure which waterfall this is, but Ricketts Glen here, this features 22, I think, named waterfalls. So this is just the beginning of the waterfall experience. But these stone steps, you're going to want to be careful because you could easily fall. Especially if it's raining, this is probably not a good idea. And in the wintertime, they do close the Falls Trail because it becomes extremely unsafe. But you can do guided tours through here, and that's something we would actually really like to do. And I should tell you also, Ricketts Glen's campground is one of the few in Pennsylvania that's open year-round. So at some point, we do want to do some winter camping, and this would be a good place to do it. I do want to make sure that if you're coming here, that we set realistic expectations for you, the viewer, so you know what to expect when you come here. This trail is very steep and very rugged. If you're coming here with the expectation that it's going to be something like Watkins Glen or Buttermilk Falls in New York, or pretty much any of the ones up in the Finger Lakes region, it's not going to be like that. It's not as maintained. It's not as friendly for people who aren't experienced in hiking. We do a lot of hiking, and we do rugged things in state forests and things that you wouldn't expect to be maintained at a high level. So, you know, it's not a huge deal for us. Bring your hiking poles. The girls didn't remember theirs today. They're in the truck. Should have had them. You know, past that, yeah, just expect steep, rugged, rocky terrain on this hike. And I think the signs up at the trailhead and elsewhere, you know, they do a pretty good job at relaying this message that this is a very difficult trail. And I can tell you, like, we've ignored stuff like that in the past, but this is difficult, absolutely. So heed any warnings that they give you. Friends, as you're walking the trail, the falls trail here at Ricketts Glen, be on the lookout on the sides, because there's other stuff that you might miss. This is probably the third waterfall we've seen cascading down the side of the gorge into the main creeks. Everything here is so lush and green. It's a very pretty place. These gorges, because the moisture and stuff in here, everything is like this all year round. It's awesome. And friends, there's all these named waterfalls here, and that's pretty cool. But the only way you can figure out what they're called is to look at the map and look at the pictures on the map. There's no signs. Well, I shouldn't say there's no signs. There was a sign at least one that we've seen, but there's certainly not at every single one. And so, but it would be nice to see some sort of, I don't want to call it a storyboard, but information boards and stuff, that maybe it told you the story of the falls and why it got its name. And that might be on the map too. I haven't been looking. Sarah is extremely good at finding bugs on the trail, and usually they're quite interesting, especially something like this one. I'm not sure what that is. Maybe it's a centipede or a millipede. I never remember the difference, but it's cool nonetheless. So, as far as the waterfalls themselves go, I do think that this place is incredibly beautiful. And they're all big waterfalls too. It's not like they're just these little dinky things. I would suggest that it is incredibly worthwhile to brave this steep, rocky path. Only one other thing as it relates to that is it's hard to, well, especially because I'm filming too, but it's hard to look at everything as you're walking because you do have to keep an eye on your footing. But for me at least, we're doing this as an out and back instead of a loop because we can't do a loop. And so I believe that we'll get to walk back up this path, and at least I won't be holding the camera when we do that. Gotta look at the bright side of everything, I guess. Friends, I think I've told you I don't know much about photography, but the lighting right here, right now, I would imagine is what you want if you're trying to take a good picture or video. The sun is pretty much right at the perfect angle. I have no idea. Well, it's probably like 9 o'clock in the morning now, so the sun's somewhere in the east, coming from the east. This area here, friends, is kind of a crossroads. The ball trail goes down that way a little bit more. I don't know that we're gonna go do that. That direction is actually where it is closed. So there's a few more waterfalls down there. We might do it, I don't know. See how we feel. But right now, we're gonna head this way up the Lake Leigh trail, and that is because there is a taller waterfall up here that we want to go see, as comparison to the ones if you continue down the falls trail.
barefoot one is probably my favorite. This trail's really nice. It's still pretty humid in the gorge though, so that makes it a little uncomfortable today. It's hot and humid.
I think we're done. I don't remember the name of this falls behind us here, but it's definitely my favorite, probably not hers.
It's my second favorite.
But it's worth the climb up here on this trail. I think it's Lakeview Trail or Lake something.
This is the Glen Leigh side of the falls trail. We came down the Ganoga Glen side, so.
Yeah, it's going to be a long hike uphill for us. The good news is we'll get to see everything again. The lighting for this one was really nice also as well. The sun is in the right spot, so definitely come here in the morning if you plan on doing any sort of filming or photography or anything like that. We will see you guys next week. We'll still be camping over at Francis Slocum from now, today's Thursday, up until Sunday. We're doing Bear Creek Preserve tomorrow, and then Choke Creek Falls on Friday, or Saturday. Yeah. So that's our plan. We will see you back at the campsite in next week's episode, Thursday, 5 o'clock. Subscribe if you want to, and we're out.
We'll see you guys then.